Amid the tall grass, a pride of lions moves forward in deadly silence. Their bodies pressed low, their eyes locked onto the prey, their patience every bit as dangerous as their claws. Elsewhere, a cheetah suddenly erupts into motion, tearing across the open plains like living lightning, each stride a desperate gamble between life and failure. Beyond the horizon, vast herds of antelope and zebra surge forward like endless waves, driven by thirst, by instinct, and by an ancient command carved deep into their blood. Keep moving, or die where you stand. But the river knows no mercy. Beneath its seemingly calm surface, the Nile crocodile waits in absolute stillness, ancient, cold, and almost invisible, until the water itself explodes into violence. When darkness falls across the savannah, there is one sound that makes almost every living creature freeze, listen, and silently wonder how far away death might be. It is the roar of the lion. Not just the voice of a predator, but the declaration of power. A border drawn across territory, a sound of a throne held by blood, hunger, and hunts so dangerous that only those who master them live long enough to become legend. Dusk settles slowly over the grasslands. The last light of day glides over tawny bodies sprawled beneath the shade of acacia trees. For hours, the pride has seemed almost motionless, like sun-warmed stones with a pulse. But that stillness is only the pause before one of the savannah's greatest machines of predation begins to move. A lioness raises her head, amber eyes scanning the horizon. Another rises, stretching the powerful muscles beneath her coat as though the darkness itself were waking inside her. Among the big cats, lions are the exception. They do not choose solitude like leopards. They do not stake everything on a few seconds of speed like cheetahs. They build strength through numbers, through family, through the pride. And it is the pride that turns lions into a true force. The lionesses are the backbone of that force. They are the hunters, the warriors, the keepers of the next generation. They know one another in silence. No commands need to be spoken. Each lioness understands when to circle left, when to press from behind, when to seal off the last route of escape. And among all the hunts on the savannah, few are as brutal as hunting African buffalo. Buffalo are not prey for the careless. They do not scatter in helpless panic like many other herbivores. They are heavy, stubborn, broad-shouldered, armed with horns curved like hardened hooks, and when cornered, they can turn a lion hunt into a bloody counterattack. A full-grown bull can weigh nearly a ton. It is not just meat. It is risk. It is a trial of coordination, nerve, and the ability to calculate with one's own life on the line. A herd of buffalo gathers in a low patch of grass, their dark backs glinting beneath the fading light. The calves remain toward the center. The adults, males and females alike, form a living fortress. In the distance, the lionesses crouch low in the grass, nearly dissolved into the gold of the savannah. They do not look at the herd as a whole. They search for weakness. An older animal, a slower one, a body slightly out of position. On the open plains, no fortress remains perfect forever. A single broken rhythm can change everything. But what makes the lion a symbol of power is not that it always wins. It is that it dares to challenge prey so dangerous that one mistake can kill the hunter itself. The hunt begins almost invisibly. One lioness sweeps wide to the left. Another presses low from behind. A third holds back, waiting for the instant the buffalo will be forced to turn. Then the savannah explodes. Dust surges into the air. The buffalo snort and bellow, bunching together. A massive bull swings his horns directly toward the attackers. He does not run, he faces them. And that is what makes buffalo hunts among the fiercest confrontations on the plains. One lioness lunges, trying to seize the buffalo's flank. Instantly, the great dark mass twists, swinging its horns like blades. A single solid strike to the chest or belly can send a lion flying, break bone, even kill outright. But lions do not hunt through blind recklessness. They hunt through calculation. While one draws attention, another seizes the moment from behind. Claws sink into thick hide. Jaws search for the throat. The struggle becomes a violent equation of hunger, numbers, weight, and endurance. And even when the kill is made, lions are not yet allowed peace. The shrill laughter of hyenas may already be drifting in from afar. Blood on the wind is an announcement to every rival nearby. Every large carcass on the savannah becomes the center of another contest. And within lion society itself, peace is always fragile. Young males wait beyond the boundaries of established territories, watching for weakness. If they win, they do not merely claim the pride, they rewrite its bloodline. That is perhaps what makes the lion so endlessly compelling. It is not the invincible king of legend. It is a ruler forced to pay for its crown every day. Every roar rolling through the African night is not only a warning to others, it is also a bitter statement to fate itself. I am still here. I still hold power. I am still strong enough to keep this throne for one more night. You can see a lion from far away. You can hear the pounding hooves of antelope in panic. But there is one predator that gives almost no warning at all, until the water erupts and a life vanishes from the world. That is the Nile crocodile, an ancient ambush hunter lying at the river's edge, as though time itself forgot to improve upon its design. The Nile crocodile does not hunt like a lion. It does not chase prey across open ground. It needs no great sprint, no coordinated group attack. Its strength lies in disappearance. The entire heavy body presses against the mud beneath the surface, with only the eyes and nostrils visible. From a distance, it looks less like an animal than a drifting log. And in that refusal to look like danger lies the secret of its terror. An antelope lowers its head to drink. Nearby, a buffalo steps carefully into the shallows, its feet sinking into the mud. Beneath the murky surface, the crocodile remains motionless. It is in no hurry. Millions of years of evolution have taught this reptile one simple law. The most patient hunter is often the most successful. It can wait an extraordinarily long time for one perfect opening. But what makes the Nile crocodile truly haunting is not the first bite. It is the way the river can return to perfect stillness only seconds after a life has been dragged under, as though no death ever happened there at all. Then it comes. The surface explodes. Water bursts upward in white spray. A leg, a muzzle, a shoulder. Whatever the crocodile catches may be enough. The rest of the herd recoils in panic, stumbling, crashing, crying out. But for the crocodile, the first grip is often already a sentence. If it can drag the prey into deeper water, the ending becomes only a matter of time. And once the jaws are locked, the body begins to spin. The death roll. Not just a movement, but a perfect fusion of muscle, momentum, and water. Bones are twisted, joints wrenched. The prey's body loses all organized resistance. It is no longer a hunt. It is an execution carried out with primitive force. During the migration season, When wildebeest and zebra crowd the river crossings, the Nile crocodile becomes a true ghost from prehistory. Amid the chaos of hundreds of bodies plunging into water, horns colliding, hooves hammering backs, mud flying, and cries tearing through the air, the crocodile remains exactly what it has always been: cold, precise, and economical. It does not kill in rage. It does not kill to display dominance. It waits, strikes once, and lets the river finish the rest. Yet for all its horror, the crocodile is still an essential part of the river ecosystem. It removes the weak, consumes the dead, and enforces the law of the water's edge, where so many species are forced to come to survive. And that is what makes the African riverbank one of the most tragic places in nature. The place where life must bow to drink, even knowing that death may already be lying beneath the calm reflection. On the African plains, there is a hunter that needs no roar to command awe. It does not dominate through mass like a lion. Through stubborn endurance like a hyena. Or through the quiet dread of the crocodile. It wins through a few near impossible seconds when its body explodes into the closest thing nature has ever made to lightning on land. This is the cheetah, the fastest animal on the plains, and also one of the most vulnerable predators in a world that never forgives weakness. Morning light spills gently over the savannah. The grass stirs in the breeze, and the first thin waves of heat begin to rise from the ground. Between low shrubs, a female cheetah lies pressed close to the earth, her eyes fixed on a herd of Thompson's gazelles ahead. Unlike the lion's authority or the hyena's rugged power, the cheetah looks like a masterpiece of refinement. Long body, narrow waist, high legs, deep chest, a tail built like a rudder. Every part of it seems designed for one purpose alone: acceleration. The cheetah does not hunt through overwhelming force. It hunts through opportunity. It must approach close enough before exploding into speed, because no matter how fast it is, it cannot maintain that speed for long. On the open savanna, distance is everything. Too far, and the prey will turn and stretch the chase until the hunter burns itself out. Too close, and the prey may detect the approach too soon. The cheetah is therefore a master of distance, approach angle, and timing. Ahead, the gazelles continue grazing. One young animal drifts slightly from the group, only slightly, but on the savannah, that is enough to separate life from death. The cheetah inches forward, no sound, no wasted motion. It understands that the entire hunt will be decided in the moment its body leaves the ground. There is no second plan. And though it is the symbol of speed, the cheetah lives inside a cruel paradox. It may catch prey through astonishing bursts of power, but it is not strong enough to defend that prize if lions or hyenas arrive. It can hunt successfully, yet still go hungry. It can win the chase, only to lose the meal. Speed, the greatest gift nature gave it, is also a reminder that everything in the cheetah's life must happen quickly, before the rest of the world catches up. But what makes the cheetah one of the most extraordinary creatures on Earth is not just how fast it can run. It is that its entire survival is staked on a handful of seconds, where there is no room for even the smallest error. The moment comes. The cheetah springs upright like a coiled mechanism suddenly released. In an instant, the plain is split by a streak of gold and black, moving so fast the human eye can barely follow it. Dust bursts behind it in a pale trail. Long legs pump like pistons. The tail lashes left, then right, steering through the desperate turns of the fleeing gazelle. In that pursuit, the cheetah is doing more than outrunning its prey. It is reading movement, solving angles, bending its own body into the geometry of speed. A Thompson's gazelle may be incredibly agile, but the cheetah is what happens when nature turns motion into mathematics. The final tackle comes in seconds. The gazelle stumbles, flips, and the cheetah's jaws close around a trembling throat. But that is only half the story. The cheetah stands over the kill, gasping, chest heaving violently, body trembling with exhaustion. It needs time to bring its heartbeat down. And that is when it becomes most vulnerable. A pair of hyenas may appear over the horizon. A passing lion can transform this hard-won prize into someone else's meal. So the cheetah must not only hunt fast, it must eat fast, leave fast, live fast. There is perhaps no creature on the savannah whose beauty is so dazzling and so sad at once. It is a masterpiece of evolution, and also a prisoner of that same perfection. Nature made it the fastest arrow on land, then took away nearly every other advantage. And that is why every cheetah sprint feels like a fragile miracle, breathtaking in its beauty, yet always one heartbeat away from collapse in the still air of the grasslands. If the lion is power shaped like a throne, then the African wild dog is war-shaped like speed, discipline, and near-perfect cooperation. They do not possess a roar that shakes the night. They do not carry the imposing grandeur that makes the plains instinctively par for them. But when the pack begins to move, very few prey animals escape being worn down to collapse. This is one of Africa's most efficient hunting machines. Dawn over the savannah is still cool. Blue-gray light washes over low grass as a pack of African wild dogs emerges from its resting place. Their coats, painted in irregular patches of black, white, and brown, make each one look as though it was designed in chaos. Yet beneath that chaotic appearance lies a society of remarkable cohesion. They are not merely animals traveling together. They are a hunting unit, a cooperative family, a social force in which the group matters more than any individual. One dominant dog lifts its nose to the wind. The others sharpen it once. Excitement spreads through the pack in subtle shifts of body language, quick movements, high-pitched calls, brief muzzle touches. The hunt of the wild dog does not begin with the heavy silence of lions. It begins with activation, as though the entire pack is a single body preparing itself for speed. They may target impala, young antelope, or even larger prey under the right conditions. Not because each dog is especially strong, but because the pack almost never allows prey the chance to recover. What makes African wild dogs so formidable is endurance. They do not place all their hopes on a few seconds of explosive speed like a cheetah. They rely on the certainty that their prey will tire before they do. On the open savannah, where many predators are limited by heat and short-range power, the wild dog turns prolonged pursuit itself into a weapon. They pressure, rotate, adjust positions, and force prey to bleed away energy, one stride at a time. A herd of impala spots them and bursts forward. The pack immediately accelerates. No individual tries to surge ahead for its own glory. They run to the rhythm of the group. One presses from the left, another stays close behind, others drift into positions that block a turn. It is not disorder, it is design. A soft, fluid discipline hidden inside the frenzy of the chase. But what makes the African wild dog legendary is not merely how fast it runs. It is that prey rarely falls because of one decisive blow. It falls because the pack never allows it to breathe again. The impala begins to lose rhythm. Its strides become uneven. A leap comes lower than before. A glance backward lasts too long. And the dogs understand the language of weakness perfectly. They close in. No display. No theatrical pause. They continue like moving pressure. In their world, time is a weapon. All the prey must do is slow a fraction, and the pack pours forward like a flood. The ending is often fast and violent. Unlike lions, which overpower through mass, wild dogs kill through numbers and pace. It is a method that can seem especially brutal to human eyes. But the savannah has no interest in appearances. It keeps only what works. An African wild dog, though denied the grandeur of kingship, remains one of the most formidable hunters on the continent. What is even more remarkable is that the pack does not operate through selfishness alone. After the hunt, adults return food to pups, to those left behind, to mothers nursing young. In all their ferocity, there is also a rare kind of social devotion. Survival here does not belong merely to the strongest. It belongs to a group that feeds one another, protects one another, and runs together to the end. That may be why African wild dogs are so frightening and admirable at the same time. They need no throne, no single male draped in symbolism. They represent another kind of power altogether, the power of coordination. When the pack races through yellow grass beneath the rising sun, rounded ears up, painted bodies flashing like broken pieces of the savannah itself, one understands that nature does not create only kings. It also creates armies. Dawn on the savannah is never truly quiet during migration season. Even before the sunlight fully spreads across the land, the pounding of hooves can already be heard from afar, like drums of an approaching storm. Herd after herd of wildebeest pours across the plains, forming a black, living river flowing over dry ground. Among them moves zebra, their black and white stripes flashing like broken lightning through the dust. The air thickens. The grass bends. The earth itself seems to breathe differently beneath the weight of so many bodies. Wildebeest and zebra do not migrate because they want adventure. They migrate because standing still means starvation. The dry season tightens around the land, shrinking water, draining grass, and forcing grazers to follow the pulse of rain and regrowth. Zebra often move first, slicing through coarser grasses. Wildebeest follow, feeding lower, taking softer growth. Two different species. But on this journey, they become companions inside the same sentence of survival, and moving with the migration are not just hope and hunger. Other eyes move with it too. Lions stalk the edges. Hyenas trail behind, watching for the young, the old, the separated. Wild dogs scan for weakness. Vultures circle above, as if nature itself sends witnesses ahead of every tragedy. The whole savannah seems to awaken to the rhythm of this movement. Predators know that when the migration passes, opportunity passes with it. A calf born only recently must run among thousands of pounding bodies. It has barely entered the world, and already the world offers no grace period. On the plains, childhood is brief. Either keep up or vanish from the story. And that is why the migration is not merely a mass movement. It is the harshest possible test of each individual life inside the flood. But the most terrifying moment of the migration does not come on the open grasslands. It comes at the water's edge, where hope lies ahead, panic churns below, and death waits silently beneath the surface. The herd bunches at the riverbank. No animal wants to be the first to leap. Wildebeest stamp, snort, crowd, surge forward, then recoil. Zebra stand tight, ears high, eyes fixed on the murky current below. On the far side is green grass, a chance to go on living. But under that brown water, Nile crocodiles have already been waiting. There is no safe choice. To stay is to die slowly from hunger, exhaustion, or the predators behind. To jump is to enter chaos, an ambush. Then, as it does every year, the chain reaction begins. One animal plunges, the rest break after it. Hundreds of bodies slide down the bank and crash into the river, colliding, tangling horns, trampling one another in a wave of collective panic. Water flies white. Mud explodes. Cries rip through the air. And then the crocodiles rise. Some animals are pulled under immediately. Some are crushed or drowned in the chaos. Some stagger up the far bank trembling, almost unable to understand how they crossed the threshold of death at all. But the migration does not stop to mourn. It cannot. Behind them, the river of life is still pressing forward. The Great Migration teaches the savannah one of its cruelest truths. Sometimes survival does not belong to the strongest or the fastest, but to those who keep moving even while many others fall around them. When we watch the wildebeest and zebra stretching to the horizon, we are not simply looking at herbivores searching for grass. We are witnessing one of the great heartbeats of an entire ecosystem. A living flood born from hunger, pursued by teeth and claws, yet still moving forward as though nature itself has never allowed it the right to stop. On the savannah, some animals flee, some hide. But there are also those that force even lions to think carefully before attacking. The African buffalo is one of them. Heavy, stubborn, dark-eyed, with horns curved like hooks of bone. It lacks the grace of antelope and the visual spectacle of zebra. Yet when a buffalo herd forms its line, the savannah understands this is no mere herd of grazers. It is a moving fortress. Late light pours red across the dust hanging above the grass. A herd of buffalo moves slowly through a low stretch of land, heads down, shoulders high, bodies like dark boulders pushing through the plain. They may look slow, but slow does not mean weak. Every step carries immense force, and beneath that heavy calm lies an explosive violence that can surface in an instant. Buffalo live through collective strength. That is what makes them so formidable. Calves stay in the center. Adults take the outer line, forming a living wall. If threatened, the herd can pivot together, bringing their horns forward like a shield of weapons. In a world where many species survive by running, buffalo survive by standing and resisting. They graze, remain tied to water, help shape the vegetation of the savannah, clear paths through brush, and serve as one of the most important prey bases in Africa. But buffalo are never easy prey. A lone old bull may separate from the herd, scarred and solitary, yet still dangerous enough to make predators hesitate. Even lions, capable of bringing them down through cooperation, often pay with injuries if they choose badly. There is always something hard to read in the face of a buffalo. It does not carry the immediate panic of many prey animals. It watches longer, holds ground more stubbornly, and if it decides to fight, it fights with a stubbornness the plains do not forget. It is no accident that buffalo are regarded as one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. But what truly makes the buffalo fearsome is not just its size or its horns. It is that when one member falls, the herd may turn back toward death instead of running from it. A sudden movement erupts in the grass. Lions are already close. The cows are pressed inward. The adults spread wide, snorting, hooves scraping at the earth. An old cow steps half a pace forward. Then a great bull turns fully toward the hunters. It is not the posture of fear. It is a warning. Every confrontation between lions and buffalo is a clash between two kinds of power. One side fights with coordination, speed, and claws. The other with mass, formation, horns, and refusal. If the lions isolate the right animal, they may succeed. But if the herd holds its line and chooses to counterattack, the hunt can reverse in an instant. Lions are thrown, gored, trampled, driven back from prey they seem certain to take. Buffalo are also known to return to danger, to defend calves or fallen herd members. In a world often described by simple laws of strong and weak, that behavior gives them a different kind of presence. It makes them more than large grazers. It makes them an emblem of collective defense and stubborn endurance. When a herd of buffalo crosses the savannah in red evening light, it becomes clear that not every prey animal is defined by vulnerability. Some herbivores are dangerous enough that their very existence forces apex predators to reconsider the cost. And the buffalo is one of nature's clearest reminders that sometimes power does not lie in killing, but in making those who wish to kill hesitate. It is the story of adaptation, of survival, of the truth that there is no single formula for becoming a master of the wild. Some survive through strength, some through speed, some through family, endurance, patience, or a perfectly timed counterattack. But all of them remain bound to the same ancient law: adapt, endure, or disappear. And perhaps that is why the savannah is not only a place of death, It is also where nature has written some of the greatest masterpieces of evolution on Earth.